Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're going to take a look at a new AIO on the market from our good friends at ThermalTake. This is the new LA360 S. Now this is part of a range of new AIOs which are designed to be a little bit more budget friendly from ThermalTake and also actually have some really nice cool features. So it's nice that the AIO market is having a little bit of a refresh, at least from ThermalTake's point of view anyway. So a couple of differences. There are a 240 and a 360mm version of this particular setup, and there's the -S and the normal LA360. Now the normal LA360 just has a RGB pump header, so you can just set it to your convenient lighting, and it's also got the ThermalTake logo. Whereas this version, the -S, actually has an integrated digital display panel, which you can run some software on your PC and it will display system statistics such as your CPU temperatures, fan speeds, etc, etc. It's not very involved, so the software itself is a very minimal install and runs very quietly in the background, and there's not actually a great deal you can do actually on it in order to change what you actually see on the display, so that is pretty much baked in. If you do want to have all of those kind of blingy things and changing GIFs and JPEGs, etc, then you're still better off going with the ThermalTake Ultra range, which we've seen on the channel before, and actually I am running in the PC behind me. Those offer the utmost flexibility, but they do come at a significant price increase. So if you want to save some money, but you also want to have a little bit of a display panel and also some very nice ARGB lighting, then this might be just the thing for you. So in today's video, we can go through, do an unboxing, show you what you actually get. We'll also show you how it's installed onto an AMD motherboard, do some temperature tests, sound tests, all that kind of stuff, and then we'll come back at the end of the video with my final thoughts and recommendations. Now before we get into the unboxing, let's talk about pricing. Now at the time of recording this video, which is the beginning of October 2025, the two models available, the 360 ones, which are on the shelves at the moment, the 240s I think are coming shortly. This particular model is normally retailing for £85 here in the UK. You can get them from places like Scan, etc. Again, links will be in the video description. And in fact, I've already seen this discounted down to £79.99, so potentially already a price drop. If you're looking at the non-screen version, or the one with just the ARGB lighting, that one is about £10–15 cheaper, again depending on when and where you're buying it from, so somewhere in and around the kind of £70 mark. So it seems to be quite competitive pricing. Obviously we'll have to find out how well it performs, but some of the things they've actually improved in this is they've got a new pump design, which is deemed to be ultra silent, which we'll be checking out. Also the fans themselves have been uprated up to a maximum RPM of 2500 RPM. Also the fans themselves are internally daisy chained, so basically when you take it out of the box, essentially it's just ready to fit, which I think is very cool indeed. And of course you've got your LCD screens, etc, for monitoring your system temps. So yeah, overall I think this is actually a pretty compelling package. Let's take it out of the box and see what we actually get. So taking it out of the box, 360mm rad, not really much has changed here. 397mm from top to toe, usual specs otherwise, so 27mm radiator, you've got your normal 25mm fans. The radiator itself has actually got improved internal, basically sizing or dimensions. So the internal radiator is now on 20mm, whereas they used to be a little bit smaller than that. So a little bit of extra thermal mass there, which is nice. It's got a very nice finish. And also the thing that I really love is the fact that it's basically pre-finished, ready to go out of the box. All of the screws have been pre-torqued, pre-tightened. It's all ready to go. And all you've got is the cables coming out of one end of the fans. It's all internally daisy chained, which is great. So it just means you've got your standard 4-pin PWM and your 3-pin 5V addressable RGB, and also a pass-through to connect up to your motherboard. That's great, like that a lot. Also got these nice braided tubes, and they're a little bit shorter than usual as well, for the reason being that there's less clutter in your system. And also the pump head is only designed to go one way. Obviously, because it's got an LCD screen on it, it's designed to fit in a specific orientation. So yeah, that's pretty good. There's a new mounting system actually on the bottom, which potentially might be an improvement in terms of mounting pressure. Slightly more difficult to install than some of the previous models, but we'll go into that in more detail a little bit later on. Actually on the pump head itself, you've got a nice big copper cold plate. You've also got your usual connections on the bottom. So you have got your 4-pin PWM for the pump itself, pump speed between 1500 and 2500 RPM. And you've got the addressable RGB connection, and again also a pass-through. So that is going to be your lighting for the actual pump head. Now, obviously you can't see it at the moment, but when this is illuminated or lit up, then you have actually got lighting around the outside edges as well. So these little segments actually light up in your RGB theme of choice for your system. The RGB is controlled via your motherboard software. So if you're on MSI, it's going to be into your kind of Mystic Light, all that kind of stuff. Or you can use things like Open RGB, Signal RGB, those types of things. But essentially this will be plugging into your motherboard. So whatever software or whatever you choose on your motherboard to control your lighting, the same applies to this, and also the same applies to the fans as well. So you don't have to have the ThermalTake software, such as the ThermalTake RGB Plus 2 or 3 as it's now out. So this will run basically on any system. You do need some specific software for the actual LCD screen. It's a very, very small download, and you can get it from the website for this particular model. So it's very easy to do, very easy to install. We'll take a closer look at that a little bit later on. So in terms of what we actually get in terms of mounting hardware, now most of it, like I said, is already done for you. So the screws are in the fans, that's all connected up. And even the brackets on the bottom of the pump, that's all in place already. You do get your instruction guide, which again is very simple, takes you through the whole process. In terms of what you get inside, so you get some mounting nuts, which are actually knurled screws, but we'll give them that. That's absolutely fine. You also get some Intel screws for mounting to the modern LGA chipsets and older as well. So very, very wide range of compatibility, both for AMD and for Intel. I'll try and put those on the screen for you right now, but essentially if you're on AM4, AM5, you're absolutely fine. If you're on LGA 1200, 1700, 1851, yes, no problems at all. And it will do some older ones as well, which is excellent. This one says fan and case screws, which is wrong. It's actually radiator screws to hold the radiator into the case. So technically, I guess case would work, but anyway, again, we'll give them that. You get some thermal paste and also a spatula for application, not pre-applied. There is a Intel backplate. So obviously Intel motherboards don't have a dedicated backplate, so you do get one of those. And actually it's got the quite nice sliding mechanism. So depending on which socket you're using, that slides really easily. There's none of those kind of weird clips that you've got trying to faff around or have magnification eyesight so you can actually see what's written on it. It just slides to whatever size you need. So yeah, I like that a lot. Also, there's some spring-loaded screws for the Intel setup as well. Obviously, Intel used the spring-loaded ones. For AMD, you use the knurled screws. And for AMD, this is something which I'm not entirely keen on, but I understand why they've done it. So this is the new mounting bracket for AM4 and AM5. So these replace the standard plastics which are on your motherboard from the factory, and there's screws included, so you don't use the same screws, which is a little bit unfortunate. Just adds a little bit more complexity for the AM4 or AM5 setups, but because the fact that obviously the pump head is square, they've made it so that the design for this actually squares up the AMD brackets. And of course for that as well, it also means that if you've got a motherboard which maybe is a overclocking motherboard and your socket isn't the normal rotation, it's rotated 90 degrees, you can obviously rotate this as well. You can rotate the whole thing. You can actually remove the cap off the top for maintenance purposes, but you can't actually rotate it, which I think is a little bit of a shame. That would have made life a little bit easier, I feel. So if you've got a system where you basically want to twist it round to get the right rotation, you can't do that. You have to physically change the dimensions or the size or the location of the actual pump head to make it look correct in your system. So yeah, not the end of the world, and for most people in a normal setup it's going to be absolutely fine, but I imagine there will be those kind of edge case scenarios where potentially it's going to be a little bit more fiddly to get it to fit in your system. So I think that's pretty much it for what is actually included in the box and kind of what it's all about. The next thing to do is we'll mock up a AM5 setup so you can see how it works on the socket and how to install the pump head. So for AM5 motherboards, this is your normal setup that you'd have from the factory. Obviously CPU we've added already. So remove the 4 screws and 2 brackets from the AM5 socket, and that will be the same for AM4 as well. Next, take your AMD mounting parts bag with the 2 brackets in and the 4 screws. Place the mounting brackets with the sockets over the top there with the screw ends kind of facing inwards, and then take your 4 screws which are included in the bag and put those in through the bottom here and just tighten them up until they go to a hard stop. Now next you would normally apply your thermal paste. I'm not going to bother because I'm going to take this apart straight away after. Essentially what you do is put the pump head over the top of the screws which pop up, and again because now this is a square mounting, it will fit in on pretty much any orientation, although I would strongly suggest for most normal setups have it so that the pump tubes are at the bottom. Make sure your cables are coming out of the top. So that is basically pushed into place. Then last of all, you'll take your knurled screws and just put one over each one of the corners. Just do a couple of threads to get it started, and do that on all 4 corners. Yeah, and basically just crank them all down, doing opposing sides until they're all firmly in place. You can, if you want to, after you've used the thumb screws, if you feel that there's still a little bit more to go, you can get a screwdriver and basically pop that down through and tighten them up until it's cranked down, until it comes to a hard stop. There we go, hard stop on that side. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Now in terms of the cabling, obviously you've got your USB, which is for the actual screen itself, for the data. You've also got your PWM and also your ARGB, so this ARGB. So just plug those into the top of your motherboard, wherever is appropriate. And for the pump head, you should find on your motherboard, there'll be a connector somewhere up the top here, which will be dedicated for your pump. So just plug it into there. And that is kind of it. So it is still very straightforward, but it just means that rather than previously we had like a loop over to go over the AM4 clamps or AM5 clamps, you now have to remove them. But other than that, that's pretty much it in terms of the actual socket. For fitting the radiator into the PC is exactly the same as all the other ones on the market. You literally just screw your, I think it's 12 screws into the top of the radiator, and that attaches it, and then connect up your cables for your ARGB and also the CPU fan, and that's it, you're done. So I think that's pretty much it. Let's now take a look and see how well it actually performs. Okay, so we're back with the results. Now we'll go straight into it. So we'll take a look at the performance that we've achieved with our setup, which is behind us. And as you can see, the cooler is now installed and it does look very pretty indeed. So let's take a look at the results. So first of all, we'll take a look at the temperature results. So this is Cinebench R23 stress test running for approximately 10 minutes. And this is with our Ryzen 7 7700X. And Precision Boost Overdrive is on, and the ambient room temperature is about 22 degrees Celsius. So if you take that off, that will give you your delta results. So looking at the results, so in the lowest recorded temperatures, so this is basically the system idling, left alone, the ThermalTake LA360 S actually come in with a pretty decent result, and just over 2 degrees cooler than our previously installed ThermalTake Ultra EX360 AIO. So that's a pretty good start to begin with. And looking at after with the highest results, so the EX Ultra got 92 degrees Celsius, and the LA360 S came in with a pretty respectable result there, beating its peers at 89.5 degrees Celsius. Now obviously temperatures aren't the be all and end all. You can potentially have a hotter running system but get better performance. So let's see what the actual performance results were from those two tests. And as it's probably no surprise to anybody, the new LA360 S actually came in with a pretty good result there. So scoring 19,704 points against the Ultra EX 19,158 points. So like I said, no surprises there whatsoever. Obviously, if we're running slightly cooler, then there's a chance that the processor is going to try and boost a little bit more, and it certainly was. We were getting higher megahertz on the cores, so that resulted in a slightly higher score. Isn't a massive score difference, but certainly it is a difference, so you have to take that into account. So in terms of comparing the two, then yeah, obviously this one does appear to be better, but that isn't the entire story. So let's go and take a look at some of the bad points, or the things that you may want to consider. So one of the first things is this is actually pretty loud. Now the fans ramp up to 2500 RPM, and at that sort of velocity, they are moving an absolute ton of air. You can hear it, and certainly in my test, it did seem like it was a very small hurricane going on. So completely as expected, yeah, you're moving a lot more air, so it's going to be noisier. Now the difference in noise is actually quite noticeable in terms of when it's running at full pelt, which I would probably recommend you don't set the fans to go to 100%, because it is a little bit too noisy, especially if you're in a more constricted environment or you're in a work environment. You probably don't want it to run that loud. So that is something which I would definitely take into consideration. So yeah, as you can probably tell, maybe you can, maybe you can't, maybe it's just me, I am very sensitive to these sorts of noises, so maybe for you it's absolutely fine. For me it's a little bit annoying. So yeah, it comes down to the thing, it's making more noise, it's more performant, better temps, etc, etc. So yeah, again, no real surprises there. So overall, if you don't mind a slightly noisier radiator, then this is definitely well worth a shout. But sadly, there are other things to consider as well. So one of the things which is something to consider, certainly for me, which you'll see some footage of, is actually the tube length. Now they've actually shortened the tube length to make it possibly look better in certain situations. But even with myself using one of ThermalTake's own cases, which is the Series 500, which we've got here behind, I can't mount the radiator in the front. The tubes are simply not long enough. And also, when it came for actually trying to mount the radiator with the tubes facing the other way, so tubes to this side rather than this side, it physically would fit, but it did appear that the tubes were significantly stretched, which again, hopefully you're seeing from some footage which I've recorded. Hopefully I did record it, otherwise this is going to be absolutely meaningless. So there are some considerations with this particular unit. Although it looks absolutely gorgeous, it cools exceptionally well, the price is considerably lower than some of their other offerings, but there are some caveats. And also when it comes to the actual fans, they are daisy chained together, but they do use a proprietary connection to enable that. So if for some reason at some point outside of your warranty period, one of the fans fails, you would essentially end up replacing all of them. As far as I can tell at the time of recording, they don't sell these fans individually or separately. Obviously, if you get one and it's faulty within warranty, more than likely they'll just swap out the whole unit anyway. But certainly that is something to be slightly mindful of. At least with things like the Ultra EX, you can just grab some of their EX fans off the shelf and replace them, although they do tend to come in packs, so you would have to buy a pack of them. But hopefully you get where I'm coming from with this. So that is a little bit of a downside, but on the plus side of that, installation of this, very, very straightforward indeed. The minimal cabling is excellent. The additional USB for the actual LCD display, there's a very long cable on that, so even if you've got to stretch it around, there's no problems at all there. And the other cables in general, the PWM and the ARGB cables, nice and long, and also you've got the pass-throughs as well for connecting up other devices, so that's very good. But just do be slightly mindful of what you're planning to put this actually into. And maybe if you're one of those people that changes your case on a regular basis, there may be some shortcomings with the actual tube length on there, which will hinder installation in certain other cases. So again, do be very mindful of that. But otherwise, if you want a particularly high performance radiator, you don't mind spending a little bit extra for the quality and potentially the noise levels, I think this is actually well worth a look at. And unfortunately at the moment, it only seems to come in black. They don't seem to have a white version. So again, that is going to limit some of your choices as well. Some of you like to do your themed builds with all one color, etc. So that is slightly a little bit of a downside for this at present. But you never know, if this becomes very popular, which I'm sure it will do, potentially they may do another color as well, such as white, or maybe even some of ThermalTake's own custom colors, which they're very much well known for these days. So there you go. There is the LA360 S, and I guess by comparison you would say the LA360 as well, because essentially the only real difference is the price and the LCD screen. In terms of the performance, they will both perform exactly the same because it's the same radiator, the same fans, the same tubes, the same cold plate. It's all exactly the same. So we'll put some links in the video description, so if you want to check out closer in your regions, feel free to do so. I think that's going to pretty much wrap this one up. I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.